What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Heel Hookers podcast, episode 194. And we are back after a nice little break to talk about all the things coming up in MMA next weekend.
All the things?
All the things.
All right.
It's one thing.
Yeah. All the things.
UFC Nashville, let's go. Headlined by Derrick Lewis taking on Tallison Teixeira. It's an alright card overall, I'd say. It's not the greatest, but it definitely could be a lot worse.
Yeah, I really don't think it's bad. I think there's a lot of fun fights. I think there's a couple good names on there, It's solid.
Not to curse it, but one of the few fight cards that doesn't have any fight cancellations attached to it.
Yeah, I don't know why you would go and say that, but all right.
A full week away from the card while we are recording this, and Ginger decides to say that. That is absolutely crazy. Before we get into all of it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop a comment. We appreciate everyone that does. Let's go. UFC Nashville, though. The reason why I say it's all right, because we do have a lot of fun fights on there. We do got a lot of good matchups. But
that's why I said a couple names.
But you just look at the main card, and that's really where it is for me. And it just some of the names that we got on the main card. It's like how is this what we got put together,
Right, because in my opinion, I think the co-main and the featured bout are the ones that make the most sense.
Well, yeah, because the main event doesn't really make a lot of sense here. But, the top three fights on the card, the main event, co-main event, and the featured bout, are really the only fights on the card that have divisional meaning at the moment, besides for potentially someone if they win this one, they might get a shot at the top 15 or something along those lines. But, the rest of them, it's just, the grind type of fights.
For
people
sure.
Debuting in new divisions, so that's fun.
Yep. Yeah, 3 fights in a row and in the prelims into the main card. We will get into all that. But the first one to talk about at the top of the bill, Derrick Lewis and Tallison Teixeira. I feel like one of the craziest things about this fight is just the stats and the differences between these two fighters.
Yeah, the experience gap.
Yes. Derrick Lewis is 28-12 in his MMA career compared to 8-0 for Tallison Teixeira. This is Derrick Lewis's 30th UFC fight compared to Tallison's second UFC fight. I don't know how many main event Derrick Lewis has, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has more or as many UFC main events as Tallison has fights in his career.
Right.
41st overall pro fight for Derrick Lewis heading into this one to the 9th for Teixeira. 15 UFC knockouts for Derrick Lewis. 8 fights overall for Tallison. It is just crazy. Derrick Lewis has more losses in the UFC than Tallison has fights. There is just a wide difference in experience and the level of competition that these two have fought in their career.
Right.
Yes. And to answer your question, 6. Derrick Lewis has been main evented 6 cards.
Okay. So this would be a 7th?
Yes. It is one of those things where I do at least 3, because I knew he had headlined one other one that wasn't a pay-per-view or anything. He headlined with Cyril Gane for the interim title, and he headlined with Daniel Cormier for Daniel Cormier's one defense of the heavyweight title.
Yep. But so it is just wild that with the condition the heavyweight division has been in for so long, that Tallison, a young guy in the division, I believe 27 years old, 26? 25 actually. Okay, he'll be 26 at the end of this year. One UFC fight, obviously, got it done fast. Seems like he could just be a promising prospect potentially. Still so young and early in his career to even know that at all. But you're gonna give him Derrick Lewis, just his second fight into the UFC. It is just such a big step up in competition. I don't quite understand why the UFC did this one.
I mean, is it Justin Tafa, Derrick Lewis? I mean, no, it is a huge step up. Just
desperate, and that's just really what it is the heavyweight division is so slim at the moment from ranked to unranked. They don't have the names there. So I feel like they see this guy who he's 25 years old. He's very young. He's 8-0 with all finishes, 7 of them coming by knockout and very quickly.
Yep.
I wonder if they're just hoping with him being taller and longer than Derrick Lewis and Derrick Lewis having lost by knockout 7 times that he can just go out there and do what he normally does and get him out of there quickly. But it's one of those things where it's like you can't put so much expectation on someone that is so new, is so young, is so inexperienced, because if you're just like kind of hoping like, okay, yeah, you're going to be the new life, you're going to go in there and get Derrick Lewis out of there, what happens when he loses? You know, it's like, I don't know. I also don't get why they do it, but it's just, I really think it comes down to like desperation.
Yeah, they need new life in like the middle part of this division and upper end of the division as well, but mainly this middle part where you got Lewis, Spivak, Tybura, you know, they want to get these guys out of there, and it's just like, yeah, it's probably desperation. I do think Tallison has a style that is suited to be able to beat someone like Derrick Lewis. But Derrick Lewis is one of those guys you can never count out of a fight. He's got power in both his hands, and he carries that power into the 3rd round every single time. So it's like, it's a hard fight for Tallison, especially as your 9th pro fight. Find a guy who's fought literally a bunch of the monsters of the division. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. In pro MMA, this dude's longest fight is 3 minutes and 31 seconds.
Yes.
Like that. Obviously, Derrick, he can. I'm pretty sure it's only 2 times or 3 times he's been knocked down in the first round. That you said, it's not like it happens a lot. It can happen, you know what I mean? But it's not the most frequent thing. So if he goes out there and he starts trying to put punches on Derrick and he's just not going down like most other people do when he fights them, what does he look like if the fight starts getting extended at all, you know?
Right. And if he starts eating big shots from him, and the
last time he was knocked out in the first round was against Sergey Pavlovich back in 2022. And we're talking about one of the heaviest hitters we've ever seen in the division.
Yeah. And it's, Lewis has fought much taller and longer fighters before. It's not anything that he's not used to, you know what I mean?
That's Volkov, how that fight went.
Yeah. Volkov was doing great the entire fight, and then the last 15 seconds just Lewis lands the shot, and that's it.
Right, because I'm even looking at Tallison Teixeira's record, because it's not something I really paid attention to before. The people he's fought 0-0 and 0-1 in your first 2, whatever, but then 1-1, 4-15, 2-1, 2-1, and then into Contender Series 6-1, and then 7-4 against Justin Tafa. So, like, you know, he kept the wins going against the 6-1 and then against Tafa, so that's good.
Yeah.
But it just, I don't know.
Fought 2 guys with double-digit fights. Justin Tafa in his UFC debut, and then a 4-15 dude. Yeah. It just sucks because obviously Derrick Lewis is just fun fan favorite. Everybody, you want to see him win by knockout and just keep on doing his thing, you know? But we really do just need new life in the division. I would love to see Tallison be able to get it done and actually just have a prospect that we're just like, oh shit, he's a big dude. He can knock these guys out. Maybe he can do something. You know what I mean? But we just have not seen anything of him that gives me faith that he could go out there and do it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's hard when we've seen 2.5 minutes from him.
Yeah.
And in a combination of Contender Series and then a fight with Justin Tafa, which was 35 seconds. It's like we haven't seen anything to know anything about where he's at. Like
I did go back when I was when he was about to fight Justin Tafa. I watched his Contender Series fight and his 2 LFA fights. Yeah. And and even then, like I said before against Justin Tafa, he likes to get up into his opponent's faces. He does not use his reach like you would expect someone who's 6'7" to use it. He likes to get people up against the cage, whether it's punching them or just pressuring them back and then fighting in the pocket. Against someone like Derrick Lewis, I think that's going to be a major issue.
No, yeah, that's
that's where Derrick Lewis kind of likes to be he kind of does the Woodley thing of get backed up against the cage and then huge overhand right.
Yeah. And it's also just hard too, because even with Derrick Lewis, all of these fights in the UFC, and there are just times where he does show up differently. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There are times where he kind of just shows up and he just kind of looks like a shell of himself. He's not active. He's not throwing anything. It looks like he's just waiting to get knocked out in some fights. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then other times he goes out there, fucking Marcus Aguero de Lima just runs after him, flying knee, and the fight's, just blast him. He's like, I'm not doing this shit. So if he shows up, he's in good shape. He's been working good. I really feel like this should be Derrick Lewis's fight. And if Tallison Teixeira is able to just go out there and get it done, might have a potentially decent fighter on our hands. Is obviously Derrick Lewis. He, like we said, it's obviously a good win, but he's not the best test of the division. You know what I mean? Right. There are times where he's he's right now he's ranked number 9. There are times where he's been in the top 3. There are times where he's back 15. You know what I mean? It's kind of all over the place, so you never really know. But either way, it would just be a great win for Tallison to go out there and get it done. First UFC main event.
Oh yeah, no, he'd be probably ranked at number 10, and then you got to kind of figure out like where you want him to go from there. Like, there's Jailton Almeida right up at number 5 that he could fight something like potentially the loser of Sergey and Waldo, which is a possibility. Like, there are just multiple things they can do. They could put him up against Spivak, which would actually be an extremely good test.
Yeah, that's where, cause as soon as you brought up Jailton, I was like, I don't want to see him push that. It doesn't matter how good he looks or anything. The Spivak one, I feel like that is a very solid test for him, because Spivak's going to try and grapple him, and his striking is just constantly improving too.
I'm just saying, like, because of the way they like to push people, it's possible.
Yeah.
More likely, I wouldn't see I don't think they would go Jailton. He just got to win over Spivak. I think they would probably go, if they were to go that high up, it'd either be the loser Sergey Pavlovich, Waldo, or it'd be Curtis Blade.
Yeah.
It'd be one of those two.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'd like to see him probably get at least 2 more wins before trying to get into the top 5, honestly.
So
I feel like that would just be good. Yeah.
It would be good for him. I agree, because, like, you start talking, like, if they do what they normally do, and they do, like, let's just say they do Curtis Blades, and then he beats Curtis Blades somehow. They're going to immediately be like, all right, cool, title shot. And as far as I can tell, Aspinall wipes the floor with them.
Yeah. So that's where it's hard, because Tom, he did say that he wants to get 4 title defenses in the next 12 months. And we don't really have the division to do that unless you're just giving guys title fights. You know what I mean? Like, you could do it. You can just be like, okay, Jonathan and Ciro, Waldo beats Sergey Pavlovich. You're getting a title shot. You know what I mean? Like,
that's 3 right there. Yeah. And I mean, they're bringing in Ante Dalia, like, here.
The Croatian sensation. The second coming of Mirko Krokop. 2021 PFL champ.
No.
No.
Tom really could just absolutely stomp this division out in less than a year and leave it with just nothing to have any hopes for.
Just leave it even more of a shell of itself than it already is.
That's what I was just where just the problem's been with everything. But either way, so yeah, we'll see what happens in that main event, though. See if Derrick Lewis just keeps his spot in the top 10, or if Tallison's able to break through and get some hype on him. This co-main event, though, I am so goddamn interested to see how this one plays out, because I really do not know. I don't give a single shit if Wonderboy is 42 years old. He is still one of the harder fights in the division for anyone to get through, and especially to try and look spectacular in doing it. It is not an easy task to do. Taking on Gabriel Bonfim, 17-1 in his MMA career, was doing real damn good, undefeated in the UFC, took that super rough loss to Nicholas Dalby. Since then has bounced back, got 2 wins in a row. I am just so unsure if I'm unsure if Bonfim has the abilities at this point in his career to get through a test like Wonderboy, and I feel like this might be too big of a test too soon for him.
It could be, honestly. Yeah, I'm still excited because I'm definitely not counting him out at all. It's like, the loss to Nicholas Dalby was like just a rough loss.
Yeah.
But since then, in his 2 fights, he got his first decision win over Andre Lusa.
Yep.
And he didn't really look too impressive there, but it definitely seemed like a bounce back type of win. Because when he came back to fight Chaos Williams, he looked like a very improved fighter.
Oh, yeah.
Noticeably, his striking was just so much more on point. It looked much cleaner. And he was just, actually looking good on the feet against Chaos Williams, considering, Chaos is actually a striker and Bonfim is way more of a grappler. Like, he looked good. And then still ended up getting him out of there with that nasty-ass Darce choke, put him to sleep,
Yep.
So with the way that he has, like, clearly put in the work to do better, I am much more hopeful for like a matchup like this, because I know you say that you don't care that he's 42. Like, I agree that he's still a tougher test.
Yeah.
And, 2-fight losing streak, been finished in both of them, but to Shavkat and Buckley, so it's just very rough losses for him that I kind of wonder exactly where he's going to be at right now. And I just think it'll be a good test to see, like, okay, Bonfim, is your grappling and your like submission skills really as elite as you make it seem in all of your other wins, because that's the majority of his wins is he's got 13 submissions. So it's like, if he can go out there and do that to Wonderboy, nice.
No, yeah,
100%. It's like, the thing is, in his last 5 fights, he is 1-4. His one win being Kevin Holland, who said he would not grapple with him at all. Buckley also didn't, kind of went for a grappling a little bit, but not really. Was able to knock him out on the feet.
Yep.
Rakhmonov, Bilal Muhammad, and Gilbert Burns were all able to take him down and were all able to control him. The worst one out of all 3 of them being Gilbert Burns' takedowns. He's not a great takedown artist. He's good at grappler, but he's not like a D1 wrestler takedown artist. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I might even Shavkat. I don't know. That might be hard. I think Gilbert might have better wrestling than Shavkat, not gonna lie.
Either way, well, also with Burns though, like, he was also an older fighter at the time as well, and so he's got less
4 years ago at this
explosiveness. Well, yes, but still, he was still like, what at that point, 34?
Yeah, 34. So that it's like,
so still, like, getting out of his prime, he's going to be less explosive. His knees are going to be a little bit more shot than what Bonfim, who's 27. Yeah, like it. Bonfim should have the explosiveness for his takedowns to be able to get Wonderboy down. He shoots almost 4 takedowns per 15 minutes. He has a 76% accuracy. Wonderboy's takedown defense is 63%, but he has been able to get taken down in a majority of his latest fights. I just think, like, he should be able to win this fight, but it is like, if he is not able to get close enough to get those takedowns, it is going to be rough.
No, yeah, I get that, and it's like, I know what you mean, but even with being 1-4 in his last 5, it's like when Gilbert lost, or when he lost to Gilbert, like, that was Gilbert coming off of his title fight against Usman. Like, he was a top 3 guy at that point, Bilal top 5 guy. You know what I mean? He has literally only lost to the best of the best throughout even really his entire career. His one bad loss, like, at the time, really was Anthony Pettis, where he was an unranked welterweight, and it was just a real surprising kind of a knockout, because he, like, Darren Till, undefeated on the rise, like Tyron Woodley, like, champion. He has really only lost to the top guys, and that's where I do think that Gabriel, 27, he is super good. He is definitely improving, and like you said, with the striking, has made a ton of improvements. That's where it's just the style of Wonderboy that where it's I'm not sure if those improvements at that point are still enough to, like, even with just Wonderboy's like just declining and just age and everything, he has just only lost to the top guys in the world, so it just really is just a rough one.
Yeah, with me bringing up his striking improving, it's not that I think that he's going to go out there and strike with him on the feet or anything.
Oh yeah,
but I just wonder if he's going to be able to do enough to get into where he needs to be to try to go for the takedown.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Because he definitely is going to need to punch his way into takedowns. Like, you can't just be shooting out at distance against Wonderboy. He's going to sprawl. He's going to frame off. You're not catching him like that. You have to punch into it and then shoot down into the double. Shoot down into the double. You're not getting a single off on him.
Yeah, he has taken down every opponent except for Munir Laziz, who I'm pretty sure went to take him down immediately because he got the sub-minute ghillie choke.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see if Bonfim is able to just like go out there, get him down, and get a sub, and just look dominant. Super impressive, and that would just be amazing for him. And I do like even like with saying like because I was gonna say on the flip side where it's like if that does happen to Wonderboy, I do feel like that really is starting to show like okay that age is affecting him, and he can compete at the same level that he used to. It is still a great win to Bonfim and to not like take anything away with saying that,
not to take anything away from it. I do think at that point if I'm like in around Wonderboy, it'd probably be like, okay, dude, like let's really start looking at the career. What are we trying to do here? Still just wanting to fight and just do what you do, you know what I mean? Because he would be 1-5 in his last 6.
No, yeah, and yeah, that be 1-5 in your last 6, and could just originally be like 11-3. You know what I mean? In the or it'd be 11-4 in the UFC, and end up at like 12-9. Like super rough.
And I'm not saying like so much like push the retirement top, but it's just like okay, like look at the career and be like, okay, what are we? You just want to do this because you want to do this? Are you trying to inspire people? Like, what's the goals with the career at this point?
I feel like it's like obviously
because it's not like he's taking it, but it's not like he's taking a shit ton down. It's just like Tony, where we're like, no, Tony, you need to retire. It's
no, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel like he always has like those title hopes and aspirations, and always believes in himself. But I feel like he is just one of those guys. Like I'm a martial artist, and I feel like he's gonna do it until he doesn't feel good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because the only reason I bring it up is I'd be really interested if he were to like, let's say like go to the UFC and be like, hey, I don't want to be fighting grapplers anymore. Can I be released from my contract and go do something else like karate combat, for example? Not necessarily going to the UFC like that.
He
but like,
run shit in karate combat.
That's more like that would be.
I would love to see that.
That's what I mean. Like I think that would be really cool to see. So it's like one of those things where it's like if he still wants to do it, I feel like karate combat's kind of right there for him.
Hell yeah. We will see what happens in that co-main event at 170 pounds. Like you were saying with Wonderboy, where, just not pushing like the retirement stuff like that. In this next one, featured bout, if Calvin Kattar takes a loss to Steve Garcia in this one, I feel like it's kind of pushing. People should be pushing that retirement talk for him. Honestly, it has just been a very rough run for him as of late, especially 4-fight losing streak. It's the only finished loss was the injury to Arnold Allen, but he has just taken so much goddamn damage over his career. Steve Garcia, 5-fight win streak on the flip side, all of them by knockout. If he wins this one, I'm expecting he probably gets a knockout over him as well.
You think he's going to be the first person to knock Kattar out?
I would not be surprised because if he's not able to knock him out, then I expect Kattar to probably be able to win a decision, honestly.
See, because that's what I was kind of like wondering is like, if Steve can't knock him out and Kattar is just down to like be in the pocket with him and kind of get into a brawl. Steve's only been knocked out once, but it was clean shot from Maheshate.
Yep.
I wonder if Kattar is going to be able to knock him out, or just over 3, just end up doing more because he has much more experience in longer fights and just higher level fights.
Yeah.
Where, like you said, Steve Garcia has just been knocking the shit out of people within the first round, early into the second round. That it's like,
fair as well, that Maheshate fight was up at 155 as well.
That's true, but Steve Garcia is a big boy.
No, he is, but like Calvin Kattar.
I get it though. I'm just saying though that like he's the only one that's like in this fight, like he got knocked out clean in that, where Kattar's one TKO loss was 8 seconds into the second round. It was a fucking knee injury.
Yeah. And that's kind of the thing. Like I'm not saying like it's not possible. It's just one of those things where like Kattar can counter. He's not the greatest at it. And he takes a lot of damage.
Yeah.
His defense, like even though it says 53% on UFC stats, I feel like it's lower than, but that might just be me thinking of the Holloway fight way too much.
I mean, it does say strikes absorbed per minute, 6.62. That has to be because of the Holloway fight.
And because it's also, it's like, you could, it's just like, okay, like, yeah, you could have a 53% defense, but it's like, if somebody is throwing fucking, like, even like aside from the Holloway one, it's like, if they're throwing 200 strikes at you, it's like you're still eating like almost 100 strikes, you know, like that. It's still a lot of damage.
And Garcia is being lower though at 46%.
Yeah, and because
but he only absorbs 2.34.
Yeah, but I mean, that's where it's like you're fucking bulldozing people over in a minute, you know, a couple minutes. It's hard for you to kind of eat damage like that. But that's where I know Calvin isn't some big puncher, you know what I mean? He's not out here like, you know, getting a whole bunch of knockout wins. It's been a little bit since he's done it. His last one, it was in 2020. Yeah. But I do feel like, with just talking about the experience difference and everything, even though Kattar is older and like, you know, just on like a bad losing streak, I feel like his striking ability and technique is just a lot better than Steve Garcia. So that's where it's like, if the pressure right away and the big shots don't just like instantly get him out of there, I would not be surprised. Same kind of thing where it's like, like I think it was the Jeremy Stephens fight, but where it's like, just stepping in with that elbow, you know, and just like landing it clean. I would not be surprised if he did some shit like that to Steve Garcia.
You'd be correct. That was a step and elbow against Jeremy Stephens as he was throwing, I believe, a straight right. He just came in and just landed that elbow like that. The biggest thing is like Kattar is losing the first round. He is very much like a Marlon, Vera, Petr Yan. He is definitely a slow starter. So it's going to be one of those things where I don't think Steve Garcia gets him out in the first round. That's not something that really I expect because Kattar's just never been finished. So it's not something that I could truly expect. But like Garcia's out here, 14 KO, TKO, and 7 in the first, 6 in the second, 1 in the third. Like, it's not like he has the worst gas tank in the world, like where he's going to gas out by the midpoint of the second round, more than likely. So I feel like Steve Garcia could still pull out a decision, even if he doesn't get a finish win.
That's fair. And I know Kattar definitely is a slower starter. I feel like he's going to come out. I don't think he's going to be starting too slow in this one, honestly. One of the losing streak, and I feel like he knows that he has to just do something to get a win. And two, Steve Garcia is not going to let him start slow. Like I feel like if he has like the mentality of like, I really have to take this fight, bro, Steve is going right after him and they're going to start swinging pretty early on. I feel like,
I get that. It's just one of those things of like, where if he does that, is he going to then be outside of himself, overextend, and then get counter right-handed himself and then get knocked out that way? Maybe because he got outside of himself.
It's possible. Like I do feel like the most likely scenario is that this fight ends in a second round finish, but I would not be surprised if it ends in the first on either end, honestly. I feel like this is going to be a banger for as long as it lasts.
It should be.
Probably won't be too long. Let's go. And man, if Steve Garcia is able to be the first one to get a knockout win over Calvin Kattar, 6 wins in a row, all by knockout, it just one of those guys where it's like, it's not like he has some crazy record. It's not like he has some like big personality or he's from a place that he has like some big following or anything. You gotta push this motherfucker and give him some fun fights because it's like, what the fuck are we doing in this division?
Hey, you know? I get what you're saying. I also just want to pause it. Dan Ige's never been finished. If he finishes one person who's not been finished,
I see. That's where it's just like I feel like that. I don't know.
That could be a losing fight for him. For sure.
Yeah, like that's. I feel like you got to go bigger. You got to go more fun. It's like, bro, if you're on a 6-fight win streak, all by knockouts, and you just knocked out Calvin Kattar at number 14, bro, there's so much in this division that it's like, because obviously, you know, like people are getting like their step up and stuff. It's like, if he can get like a Josh Emmett fight or something, or like if that's not available, then it's like, bro, give him like fucking Lerone Murphy, give him Arnie Allen, like you fucking give him a big fight because it's just going to be a whole lot of fun.
That's the thing.
Because it's like, I was going to say Steve Garcia like also isn't young, 33 years old at this point. So like, you know, just only so many years where he can really do so much at the top that now would be the time to push him if he can finally break into the top 15 for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and after you said the Josh Emmett fight, because I was just thinking about it after you said no to Dan Ige, I'm like, Josh Emmett would be a fun one. Be interesting. It's definitely power versus power. Who wins it first?
And that's where it's like, yeah, you like, if you knock out Kattar, you got to give him something big. I feel like. Let's go. We'll see how that one plays out. It would be sad for Kattar to go on a 5-fight losing streak, but
yeah,
that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Going on down the main card. Oh, sorry, go.
I was just going to say, because Kattar's not one of those guys like where it's Tony, where he's like the biggest fanfare. I could see him getting rolled on a 5 streak.
Yeah. Would not be surprised. Let's go. Next fight on the main card, definitely where it starts to go down a bit in overall quality, I would say. You go from top 15 rankings and contention and all that to Nate the Train fight.
Which they're always fun, to be fair.
They are. And he's going up against Morgan Charriere. Bro, Morgan's going to beat the fucking piss out of him.
Possible.
It's definitely possible.
He
definitely probably will.
Yeah.
Morgan is so much technically more sound than him on the feet. He is going to kick his body and leg to absolute bits.
Yeah.
Bro, this is so rough. This is so rough for Nate. I don't know why the fuck they're giving him this fight.
The only way I could see Nate winning is if Morgan just kind of does what he does sometimes and just isn't as active as he should be. You know what I mean? Because like he is technically a good fighter,
yes,
but he doesn't always do enough. Like there are times where he just kind of stands around and you're like, bro, go do something. And like Nate is going to push it. So maybe that'll kind of draw it out of him. But I wonder if it's also going to have him a little bit backed up. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know that he is a good fighter, but it just seems like, sometimes he just doesn't always go when he should. And he's just a bit more tentative and just, you know. But if he goes out there and he's ready to fucking fight, then he should beat the dog shit out of him.
5'9" for Nate to 5'8", 72-inch reach, 69-inch reach. Their average fight times are 9 minutes 48 seconds and 9 minutes 50 seconds.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Now, Nate landing a lot more shots per minute at 5.59, also absorbing 5.77, whereas Morgan's landing...
absorbs more than he lands. That's never a good sign.
Well,
I mean, we know that.
Same for Morgan, though.
I was about to say,
because he lands at a 3.46, but it absorbs 4.15, and that's the shit that I've been talking about. That people will put the pressure on him, and he doesn't necessarily always brawl back. It's almost like, you know how we talk about Piotr and Shido, how they need that time to like compute everything and get it together. And how you can break their system a little bit where it's like if you put pressure on them, then it's like too much for them to absorb or whatever. Not so much Piotr because he can pick it up, but Shido a lot of times you can stop him from getting into his groove. I feel like that's the same thing with Charriere, where if you do too much, I feel like it kind of stops him a little bit and he doesn't get into his flow as easily.
I get that. I get that.
And so that's where it's like, I do believe he is a better fighter than Nate the Train.
Yes.
And Nate might go out there and just be like, I'm a doofy warrior and I'm ready to fight. And Morgan's like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Kick? Jab? Like, you know what I mean?
I get it. I do have the feeling that because like I do think that you're 100% on point with just like that is the way to just, you know what I mean? You just have to kind of stifle him, not let him get in a groove or anything. Kind of the same feeling of when going into the Piotr and Song fight, where it was just like, you know what I mean? Of like, oh, Song can kind of just do more and like, you know, get it like done earlier, like, and Piotr's not going to have enough time. I feel like it's the same thing where Morgan's just too, like, he's higher enough of a level comparatively to Nate that I do feel like that it
matter.
But if Nate goes out there and does win, you are 100% right where that's probably going to be the path to victory, where it's just putting the pressure right on him, making it a dogfight, and just it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, in boxing and stuff where it's like brawl the boxer, box the brawler. And it's like, if you're able to just do your thing better, it's bring the other person out of their game, then you're just able to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
He is tough as shit too. So it's like, he will walk into a lot.
100%.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Bro, Morgan has 11 losses.
Yeah.
And 20 wins.
Yeah.
He has 5 decision wins, 10 decision losses.
Yeah.
That's the activity thing. And realize 5 of them are unanimous. 5 are split or majority losses.
Yeah, like a majority decision loss to Paul Hughes, split decision loss in a fucking title fight in Cage Warriors to Jordan Vucenic, like fucking
split decision loss to Chepe,
fucking majority decision loss to Soren Bach, like it just such fucking like it's like UD lost to Saladin Paranese, but it's like Parnese, but like he does not have fucking bad losses at all, and like you said, just so many of them are close because of the inactivity.
Yeah.
That'd be so rough if he loses to Nate, man. Oh my god. That you think if he loses to Nate, he gets cut?
It would put him at 2-3 in the UFC, and it's one of those things where I think it just depends on how the UFC is feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If this is a really fun fight, then they still might keep him because it's like, yes, he's 2-2, but he's gotten 3 bonuses in his fights.
Very true. Very true.
For the 2 finishes and the performance, and then the fight of the night with Chepe in the split decision. So it's like
always good at French. Oh, I have him on French cards too.
Yeah, so they tend to, even if you're going negative or maybe taking rough losses, if you have exciting fights, they'll keep you around.
Very fair, very fair.
Yeah, no, and there are a bunch of guys in the division that they could just have him fight who are outside that top 15 and aren't like necessarily right there for a top 15 opportunity. Like, hell, they could have him fight Julian Erosa next after this if you were to lose. That'd be a fun fight.
Would be a fun fight.
Him versus Kyle Nelson. You know what I mean? Like, they got plenty of people. Fernando Padilla. Ricardo Ramos, if he's still fighting, because I know he just lost Chepe Mariscal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they got plenty of guys in that around there where it's like, okay, let's put you against him. Let's see what you do here. Or just make it a fun fight. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, definitely get it. Let's go. Should be a good one. This next one.
Starts.
This is the next 2, they just should not be on the main card, in all honesty. Because there are just way more deserving people on the prelims that should be above them. And with this next one, Vitor Petrino on a 2-fight losing streak, moving up to heavyweight and fighting Austen Lane.
Yeah.
Fatima Kline should be above him.
I agree.
Yeah.
I do 100% agree. The only reason why I think that it's here is because 1, heavyweight,
Yep.
And 2, while it means nothing with them, Austen Lane is 1-3 in the UFC, and all 3 of his losses are coming by knockout.
Yeah.
He was just knocked out back in March. I know, heavyweights been making quick turnarounds and everything.
Yep.
But I wonder if it's just because they're like, it's heavyweights, it'll be fun. They'll get knocked out or knock each other out, whatever.
That's what I feel like Petrino is probably going to knock out Austen Lane.
Bruh,
even not.
If he doesn't.
No, listen what I'm about to say. Because Vitor Petrino does have guillotines. He tried that against Anthony Smith. He could catch Austen Lane with a fucking guillotine if he tries to take him down. Because he does go for 1.7 takedowns per 15.
The only I'm worried about with Vitor Petrino is he's really not that big.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he has a good enough reach at 77.5 inch, so it's not like he's super, super short for heavyweight, but he's 6'2", and he was one of those guys at light heavyweight that wasn't carrying around a whole lot of weight. He was in shape.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's my only question with his ability of going out there and knocking out Austen Lane. Austen Lane has 6 losses, all of them coming by knockout. So that obviously helps that.
Yeah.
But he's getting knocked out by big boys.
Yeah,
people that fit into the division, people that have been in the division. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that they're good, but at least they're fucking big.
No,
like,
yeah, and I get and that's the thing, because Austen Lane isn't good, but yeah, he's a big fucking guy, man.
He is. The one thing that also helps with the knockouts is he is also a former football player. He's had a lot of head trauma, like
yes.
And so, like, you know, I'm saying that, like, I do think that he probably could knock him out, but like, if he couldn't, I wonder if he's just not the right size, you know, like what is he going to weigh in at? How much bigger is he going to be? Because there's a couple guys that weigh in, you know, in like the 240s or whatever, but there's a lot of 250s and just making the limit at 265. If he's coming in the 230s, bro is going to be a lot smaller than a lot of them.
And honestly, I because
which could help his speed,
and that's where it, because I feel like, especially in a fight like your first one moving up to heavyweight, I feel like he should probably accept the fact that he is going to be the smaller guy like that, and he should like probably just try and weigh in lighter and really lean on that speed to be able to just land like just quick shots to be able to get him out of there, and just, you know, the ones that he's not seeing. Because if he puts on too much weight and he is slower, you know what I mean, and like he can't move like he's used to, bro, like that is just puts him in such an easy position for Lane to be able to get a knockout on him. And now it's like, bro, you're on a 3-fight losing streak. You just moved up to heavyweight for this, and you got knocked out by Austen Lane. You're probably you know what I mean? He should probably try and rely on the smaller size and the speed to be able to go in and out and land bigger shots quickly.
I think he's just going to go out there and try to take him down.
It's entirely possible. I do think he might try that. He does have a couple submissions on his record. I was just looking up to see if
he's taken down basically all of his opponents. Only person he has not was his UFC debut, Rodolfo Balada. He shoots 3.2 per has a 3.2 average per 15 minutes, you know, so
part of me kind of wondered if fucking even like Austen Lane might try and take him down.
And that's why I was bringing up that I think he can like get him with something
like there or something.
Yeah,
that's possible. Just try and big man him, you know what I mean?
That, and I was looking this up to see if like, because like people moving divisions, like sometimes they're posting pictures or post videos, and you can see like, okay, they look different, like, but like how they look different. Vitor Petrino, he doesn't look like, obviously he doesn't look like he was 205, but as shredded, but he doesn't look out of shape in any way, shape, or form. Just looks like he's probably walking around what he would normally walk around at, maybe put on a little bit more weight, but like probably just like eating some more calories and doing more workout. More than anything. He doesn't look like he's like, you know.
And that's kind of what I assumed from him. I didn't think for him to get out of shape, but that's why I was like, he's gonna be a lot smaller, you know?
Yeah.
And at first, you know, not thinking like, I guess lean into the speed part of it, but I'm just like,
I mean, Austen Lane coming out here weighing 250, so if he comes in weighing 240, it's like 10-pound weight disadvantage isn't that huge at heavyweight.
No, yeah,
for sure. But yeah, so we'll see how Vitor Petrino is able to perform in his new UFC weight class.
Yes.
Last fight on the main card, Junior Tafa also moving to a new division. Flip-flop, though. Heavyweight going on down to 205, and he's taking on Tuco Tokkos.
Kline should definitely be above this fight.
Yep. I don't know, man.
Junior I was also trying to look to see like what he was looking like, but he hasn't posted something where I can tell. He's wearing like normal shirts, whereas like Vitor Petrino was wearing a rash guard.
Gotcha. But yeah, I just don't expect much from this fight, honestly.
No, especially considering Tuco's lost 3 in a row.
Yeah, but I'm just, you know. I don't know.
It should be a knockout. Like he's been. Oh yeah, that's right. He lost to Minyang Zhang, went on a 3-fight winning streak outside the UFC. Then came back, lost to Omar Sy, then Navajo Sterling. That's right. I was looking at UFC stats. It shows 3 fights in a row being losses.
Yeah, Minyang Zhang was that was road to UFC.
Yeah.
But Junior
knocked
Tafa
out
been knocked
twice.
More than likely. What'd you say?
Only been knocked out twice.
Yeah.
5 losses. Probably going to be another one. Potentially going to be another one.
Yeah. We'll see. But that is the UFC main card from Nashville. Let's go. Prelims, we got some pretty solid fights on this one. I know everybody is the most excited for the Foot Hunter, right? That was a terrible post. He should delete that immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was so
I don't know why you had to bring that up. Anyway.
How was I not going to bring that up, bro?
I know.
Like, that was a wild thing. Like, just in the bag.
Because, right, wasn't the caption like, I'm coming for more or some shit like that?
Yeah, just something.
Again. Made him look like a troll with a foot fetish. Like,
yeah. It was hilarious, though, so I do kind of appreciate it, even though it was like just a wild thing to post. But anyway, Fatima Kline, she's back. She's about to get me another win on my draft. The only person with a draft fighter this week.
Yep.
Yeah.
She has to lose. Can't win.
Why would you say that?
We went through this. We went through the draft. It's not looking good.
It's not about the draft.
It's always about the draft.
She needs to get another win.
You picked her, so now I have to root against her.
She is the only hope we have for the strawweight division.
Yeah.
She's young enough. It's okay. She can lose
actually,
this year.
her, the girl that beat Molly McCann. Wait, where does Carly fight at? She fights at 125, right?
I think so, yeah. Because she fought you.
Yeah. So her and the girl that beat Molly McCann. The only seemingly good fighters we have at the moment.
She is allowed to lose. She is young enough. It's okay. She is 24 years old.
She already lost. She took a short notice fight against Jasmine Jasdovic up a weight class, and she took a loss. So now she's here to be positive in the UFC instead of 50-50.
But you can't look at it like that. You just gotta look at it like she's gonna go 50 115. It's okay.
No.
She's gonna win. I know. She's fucking good, right? I accept it. I don't accept it though, but she's gonna win.
You accept that she's gonna win. You don't accept that this is another win on Katie's draft.
Yes.
She's got a 4-inch height advantage, 1 inch in reach though. Yeah. And she's the biggest favorite on the card, which is like crazy. I don't know why they've been doing the odds like this at a minus
11-15.
Yeah, 11-15.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a weird number.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't.
Plus
I really
700 underdog.
It's like, she has 2 fights in the UFC. She's 1-1. She has 1 win in this division in the UFC. Why the fuck is she that big of a favorite over someone that it's not like she's fighting someone that's like fucking 8-4, 7-3 or something. You know what I mean? It's like Melissa Martinez, she's 8-1. Like she's a very solid fighter.
1-1 also in the UFC.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Crazy. But yeah, hopefully Fatima does look good and just we do need life in the division. So
yeah, we really do need life in that division.
Let's go. Chris Curtis, Max Griffin. Chris Curtis going on down to 170 pounds, so we'll see what he's able to do in that division. It definitely does suck that he just waited this long to finally be like, all right, I guess I'll cut weight. You know what? It's just
at 37 years old. He's still 2 years younger than his opponent in Max Griffin.
This is also true.
Yeah, but he was a top 15 guy at 185 for a bit. And so if he just committed to a weight cut, he might have potentially been able to do something at 170 pounds, I
think probably where he should have done it is probably after the Hermanson one. That probably would have been a great time to be like, all right, let's move down. I was back in 2022. 3 years ago, would have been moving down when he was 34. Gotten a little bit more out of it than he has. Now he did win against Buckley after that, but Buckley now at 170 doing his thing. You got Gaslam, Imavov was a no contest. He beats Marc-Andre Barrio, but in a split decision. Loses to Brendan Allen in a split decision.
Yeah.
And then the Roman Kapilov fight.
Yeah. I yeah, it's definitely rough for Chris. But he is definitely a much better fighter than Max Griffin. I feel like he should be able to go out there, and I don't know. I know Max Griffin is not like he's out here getting finished. Only has the one TKO loss, but wouldn't be surprised if Chris Curtis is able to get a finish out here though.
What was the last one?
Max
Colby Griffin? Covington, that's right.
Yeah. But hey, maybe Chris Curtis gets added to that list. Who knows? But hopefully at least that's a fun fight though.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jake Matthews, Chidi Nzechukwu, that should be a banger at 170 pounds on the prelims as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Lauren Murphy's back after a very long time and almost 42 years old.
Yeah, that was extremely surprising to see. Don't really know. Just I would only assume just quick paychecks kind of a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I figured, but still just crazy.
Yeah, because that fucking last one, man, that was a fucking beating of a lifetime against Jessica Andrade. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was definitely cause for retirement.
Man. Oh my fucking god. Yeah, but who knows? I doubt she wins against Eduarda Moura.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where obviously Eduarda Moura 11-1. This 31 years old. I thought she was younger, honestly, but just be nice to just get somebody new coming up in the division or whatever. But honestly, I kind of want Lauren Murphy to win.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Come back, gets it done, just has an amazing performance or something, maybe gets a bonus and is like, peace out, now I'm gone for real.
Right.
But yeah. And then other than that, I am actually interested to see how Kennedy and Valter Walker plays out. Is he able to go out there and snatch up the foot, or does Kennedy just punch him up and beat him up on the feet? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think
we got 3 heavyweight fights on this card. It's fucking awesome.
3?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
2 on the main card in this one.
Austen Lane, Vitor Petrino, Derrick Lewis, and Tallison Teixeira, Nzechukwu versus Valter Walker.
Awesome.
We sure do, huh?
That's how you know it's a good card. 3 heavyweight fights on it. They should bring back the good old days when they did an all heavyweight card, right?
Oh, God. You know where they should hold that event at?
Mexico City? Oh.
Same thing.
The way I wouldn't watch that card.
How about New Orleans? Isn't that below sea level? Give them the best advantage possible, you know?
Put them in an air balloon.
It's the exact opposite of what I Anyway, Mike Davis is also on the prelim, so let's see what. But let's go. That is the card for UFC Nashville. Nothing else to talk about. There's no other fights going on or anything.
You know what's funny is there actually is 1 championship fights.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot about that.
But there's nothing on there. I went through the card earlier, and it's the first time in years that I was like, I don't know any of these people except for I think it's like Alicia and
I saw that. Yeah,
but that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we, with just that, we can kind of bring it up of like, one is definitely dying.
Yes.
Like officially, because it's been talked about for so long that like, how are they surviving? They are losing money every single year. All of this money's being dumped into it. Where is it coming from? Where is it going? Like, how are they sustaining themselves? Because they're literally not turning a profit. And now finally, Amazon's not renewing their shit this year. They're not furthering their expansion into America anymore. They're just going to bring it back to what it was. It's like just a total decline.
Yeah. Yep. And because I forget if it was earlier this year or late last year, but like they moved their fucking headquarters to like a different country where like they didn't have to disclose any money or anything like that. Oh yeah, I think they moved it to Singapore.
I thought they've been in Singapore.
Was it? Oh yeah, I don't know. But
so maybe they moved from there somewhere else.
Yeah. But it is. We haven't talked about it in so long in any real way on the pod because they just haven't been doing shit that's meaningful.
Yeah.
So, I probably, we might get a couple events here and there from, after this that it's like we care about to, watch, talk about or something. But, there's a good chance that there's just probably not going to be much one talk on the podcast anymore.
Yeah. And I understand it. It's so crazy how like going into it, watching it at first, it was just very exciting. And they had these big names that just, they put on great fights. They had great records. They were just high level fighters.
Yep.
And they really pushed themselves as this high level promotion. But then the more you watched it and the more you looked into things, you were like, oh, this person, they're on a 3-fight winning streak and they're going into a fight for the title, but now they're defending it against a guy that is 0-2 in the promotion. And it's like, how did we even get here? Just all the people that are just making their debuts and negative records, the meaningless rematches at all times, and then how much they put into very few people and the pressure they put on them to be inhuman. And then when human things happened and just the way that Charriere would talk about them and just act about them, like Stamp with her injury, Rod Tang missing weight, which a lot of people want to talk shit about that because, a lot of people, especially from America getting into it, are used to say like boxing and MMA. These people aren't starting when they're this big. Muay Thai fighters' primes are in their 20s and they start declining by their later 20s. And that's because they've been doing it since childhood. They're not 30 years old in their prime, ready to rip through. Like they're old Thai fighters at that point, Yeah. And so I feel like certain things start happening and it's just the disregard to them. It's just, So too much into a very few fighters and then didn't care about the other fighters they brought in at all. Like,
yeah.
You can't sustain it like that.
Yeah. Is it like even with it's like they had enough that if they played everything right, like they could have possibly done better. They could have had more potential. You know what I mean? But like you said, it was really just the commitment to putting way too much on the few stars that they had of like, okay, well, we need to do as many big events as possible throughout the year.
We need to get as many views as possible and sell as many tickets. So we're going to literally double book you to defend your title in June and also in September. And now make a quick enough turnaround, hopefully, so you could be back by January. And it's like, what are we talking about here?
And that's where it's just the way where it's like, it would be like fucking February or something. And it's like, they're booked for June. And then it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh but now they're also fighting in April, or like, and it's just like, what, like, and then then they do the first one and it's like, oh, they can't show up for the second one. And it's just because they fucking have all the, they go further out with whatever bigger events and then leading up to other events that are just like, damn, we don't have nothing, and so we need to do something big for this. So let's just bring in whoever in.
And then on the flip side, people want to fight and they're not getting them fights, and it's a mess.
Yep.
No, it is. They are by the way, they are moving their global production hub from Singapore to Bangkok, and like I guess in 2022 they changed its legal operations anyway from Singapore to the Cayman Islands.
Okay, that's what it was. Right, I didn't know that was 22, but okay.
They are definitely, the Cayman Islands, you don't have to report any money. So, they are hemorrhaging it hand over fist, if that's the case.
Yeah. So, it probably will just retreat to a local Thai promotion in Thailand, honestly.
I wonder if they're going to end up cutting their MMA fighters at that point.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And like grappling and, just keep it Muay Thai kickboxing.
They might.
Obviously, it's one of those things where it just sucks. Like, you need big promotions. Like, the more competition, the better. It's just good for fighters.
But does that mean that we get Christian Lee, Adrian Lee, Anatoly? Does Stamp want to still dabble in MMA at all? Does Cade Rudatolo want to keep, you know what I mean? Like, he can still grapple on the outside and just...
Yep. I mean, with... I'd be Ty and Kate, they could also.
That's all I'm gonna say.
They could come over at first and do the UFC BJJ thing, and then go into the UFC proper.
That's true.
Yeah, fucking shit. Maybe even like Jerry Brooks. Like potentially, I know he fought in the UFC back in the day, but like shit, they need flyweights, so it's like he's obviously would be a bit smaller for the UFC flyweight division, but
no, that's a possibility. Thing is, you also got things like Ryzen and KSW that can still snatch up some of these guys who definitely will be like more interested in doing that type of stuff, or potentially someone going over to the PFL. Like there are a couple like definitely smaller names who would probably go to the PFL trying to win that $500,000. So
yeah. Do you think like Adrian Lee? Do you think Adrian Lee would have a potential like go to like to maybe want to go to the PFL or something, or do you think he would maybe just want to like do a like regular regional circuit kind of thing to and then like go into the UFC? Because I wouldn't be surprised if it was just like like let him go into the PFL, do like a tournament or something, make some money, like you know what I mean, and then just like he's so young that it's like he'll literally make a good amount of money in PFL, bounce out by the time he's 24 or something, and then fucking go to the UFC with fucking 10 plus fights under his belt, you know?
He could. I kind of think that he might go to a more regional circuit though, because he isn't like he's only had a couple fights, you know?
Yeah, 3-0 or something like that.
Yeah, so I don't know if he's gonna want to go right into like something like PFL, especially because of how often you have to turn around and fight. And I'm not sure if that's something like he'll be so used to. I know he's young, so it might be a lot easier for him to do something like that.
Yeah.
But he also comes from a very MMA smart family that is gonna like, you know, be there to talk with him through things, and they might just be like, brother, that's not the fucking way. You know what I mean? And even with all the contract disputes coming up, like I can only assume that they have good management, that they just might even themselves be like, we don't really want to be in the mix with that because too many disputes lately when people do want to leave.
Very fair.
Wouldn't be the most surprised, but like also kind of a little bit, you know, I just don't see that being his route.
Yeah, no, they're just like, we've seen this dog and pony show before. We're moving on.
Yeah.
I don't think that the Lees necessarily had the biggest issues with one in their contract, though, because they were the bigger names. So they obviously got like their fights held up and things like
but still, they see like what happened to other people. They see what's happening to the bigger stars in the PFL, and it's like,
right.
No.
Yeah. And that's why even in my head, like Christian Lee would just probably go to the UFC, and that's where it was Adrian, like because he's so like early on.
Inexperienced, but that's why I think he might just go regional. And Christian Lee, just perfect age, has the experience to just be like, UFC sign me up. You know what I mean,
bro?
Yeah.
Bro, imagine we got Christian Lee inserted into the 170-pound division.
The thing is I think I would cry every time he fought his UFC debut. He just walks out, I would just start crying like the moments.
That would be but yeah, there is definitely the potential for UFC to get.
Do you think he would do 170 or 155?
I don't know, because he obviously does 150, or he does lightweight and welterweight in one championship, which is 170 and 185. So it's just like he's been with one his entire career. I don't think he would have ever even actually made 155 pounds.
No, yeah, that's true.
But then again, it's one of those things where who knows? Most people that have fought like a lot of pro fights and then gone into one, they always fight in the same divisional name. You know what I mean? So it's like, I really, because obviously fucking 185 pounds, he would be way out of his depths there for the UFC.
Yeah, he's 5'10" with the 76-inch reach. So it's one of those things where he'd be, you know, on the smaller end of welterweight. He'd be built, I think, exactly like Jack, like 5'10", but like has decently long arms on him. But you know, a lot of the taller guys. But he would fit into lightweight very well and be slightly bigger, you know?
Yeah.
But that's just if he's ever able to make that weight.
5'10" with a 76-inch reach at lightweight, like that's fucking... that's some fucking long ass arms on him. Like
kickboxing, 2014, he made 154 pounds.
Okay.
His pro debut fought at 143.
At one championship, which means that he did fight at 155 there. Like,
gotcha. Real. Yeah.
So,
okay. So I do think that if he could make 155 and be healthy, that would probably be the best for him. Because even with welterweight, it's like, he's got the arms, but people are just going to be a lot taller in a lot of fights. So we'll see.
He moved up to 155 in
Holloway,
2018.
Oliveira.
Yeah, bro. There's so many good fights. Fucking Benny's gone before that. The one thing that I will say though, with like all of that, I do fear of just because of one, like if they are just declining and just retreating, that they're just gonna hold up names and keep them like under contract as long as they can and just for any chance that they are just like, oh, we can do this card or something. You know what I mean? It's that is the one thing that I'm worried about. So it could take a little bit before fighters are actually like released and stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't know how many places would be willing to also do contract buyouts. I don't know, like obviously like Charriere just does not like Verizon. I feel like Verizon would be the most willing to try to do buyouts of contracts.
One in UFC have done a trade, so
that is true. I just doubt that Charriere's gonna let Verizon buy out any of these contracts.
Yeah, I highly doubt that. We all know how much Charriere loves Japan.
Yeah, maybe KSW, maybe PFL. Like you said, the UFC and them have done business before.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's go. That is all of the stuff to talk about for this episode of the podcast. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace out, everyone.